We can't say the future without AI. I mean, there's no way around it. 50% of workers now believe AI is going to improve their experience. When I come into the meeting room, I need a way to incorporate my AI with what's going on in the meeting. It's almost a bring your own AI type of a concept. Most of what we do in our day-to-day is going to change significantly.
Hear the latest AV trends and predictions in this episode of Crestron's Smarter Spaces podcast on your preferred podcast platform.
Your couch should never serve as your field office. It may be called a laptop, but by golly, put it on a desk.
You should not look like Steve from Blue's Clues on a video call. I'm going to get hate mail for that.
Do you know what that means? Actually, I don't. Oh.
Securing your meeting spaces, the best practices for work from home, and celebrating the commercial integrator 40 under 40. All that and more next on AV Week. This is AV Week, episode 679, recorded Friday, August 23rd, 2024. Remote work quality. This is AV Week, the weekly wrap-up of the biggest news and information. My name is Tim Albright, your host. With us to discuss the news and information we have got this week. First and foremost, AV Expert Emeritus is the name I've given Willie Franklin. How are you, sir?
I am doing well, Tim. It is always great to be with you.
Good to see you, brother. Also with us is AV professional Michelle Lorette. Welcome, ma'am.
Hi, howdy.
And also with us is Andrew Evans. Andrew works for Extron Electronics. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Our first story comes to us from our friends over at Commercial Integrator. They have released their 40 under 40 and is their annual list of the 40 most influential AV pros in the industry. Now, a couple of things here. I am a former recipient of this honor. I am not going to mention how many years ago it was that I was a recipient, but I was a recipient. And I am very, very encouraged to see this program continue.
Tim, we can do the new math.
Okay? You go ahead. I was first for the very first year they did it. It was 10 years ago.
Yes.
And Chris Netto and I made it just like, let's just say we were 40 when we got the honor.
So you're saying a 50 under 50 wouldn't help you at this point?
Well, if you did the same math that they did 10 years ago, yeah, sure, absolutely.
I think he's also saying he has an AARP card.
I do have an AARP card, yes.
Well, it's funny. This is the 10th year, and kudos to Craig McCormick and all the fine folks at Commercial Integrator, and now Dan Farisi, taking the torch. It's definitely come a long way. I think the initial class was, easy to identify because we had so many talented people and we never had to go pick them all out and put them in a group, right? So we could recognize them. And then it got a little bit harder, I think, as the years went on. And that led to a misperception that people over 40 had a problem with the list. And that was never the case. It's just, I remember one year, I don't know if y'all
people
recall.
Over 40 that have a problem with the list.
I think, okay, look, we're all Gen X and or baby boomers, and we didn't grow up with participation awards. Yeah. And I recall one year where there were 3 people that worked for an integrator in the warehouse, and they were included on the list, but did they accomplish anything great in warehousing or AV warehousing, or you know what I mean? They hadn't really done anything. They just happened. They might have been wonderful employees, but we don't give participation awards, right? And so that's really, I think, where the beef was. But now that we are actually looking and we've expanded our focus, we just have to go look for them and find them so that we can point them out. And E. Williams at Henderson Engineering is a great example of that. Yep. She is incredible. She is sharp as a tack. She does amazing things for her employer. She even left and became a boomeranger and went back, and they created the position that she always deserved that they didn't have. And that's the type of talent we need to be identifying, recognizing, and applauding. And everybody can get behind that.
Well, Andrew, I one of the things I wanted to mention here is they have expanded it. When they first started it, they didn't include manufacturers. Right.
That was also, yes, a shortfall.
A little
right.
bit, yeah. There are folks here from Sound2, from QSYS, from Starin, from HP Poly, AVI SPL, AVI Systems, CCS. AVNation is part of CTI. CTI's own Mike Kretschy. is one of the honorees. Andrew, how do we take a list like this, or just take, some of the things in general, and how do we attract this young talent to get them in the industry and maybe eventually end up on this list?
Yeah, no, I was really excited to see the names of the people and the organizations they represent on the list. It was a really good cross section, I felt like, of the industry.
Yeah.
I think that just putting out lists like the 40 under 40, it does well to promote the AV industry itself and the opportunities that are there. Just a few weeks ago, one thing that we were doing as a company to try to kind of really just expand the exposure of the AV industry is we were working with one of the local school districts, and they had some STEM programs where they were looking to tour, local technology companies. And so we jumped at that chance and brought them in and showed them, here's some stuff that we do at Extron, some engineering that we do, the products, even give them some hands-on time, things that are meaningful, to that age group, and show them that it's not just, AV guys and girls showing up with the cart and it's the TV on the cart with the VCR, kind of the Gen X reference there. And it really is a lot more to that. And as some of the other topics we've got today, technology is all around us. We depend on it, especially for those of us who maybe might not be in an office every single day. So I think there's some good opportunities here.
I love that y'all are doing that. I think that's incredible. Tours are so meaningful, right? I mean, like, look behind the curtain. And Atlas IED actually has a factory in a suburb south of Dallas. And on my way to E4 one year that was being hosted in Dallas, I had a salesperson for one of my dealers that she had been in K through 12 education for 30 years, an OG, had worked for Steve Wozniak, put Apple Texas education on the map, and we did a tour of their factory. They have one of those rooms where you can't hear any noise. What are those called?
Anechoic chamber.
Thank you. Oh my God. I could hear the blood pulsing through my body. It was the craziest thing. And obviously we love it's a Texas manufacturer. They've got facilities. They put Texans to work, right? So we're very proud of them. And it was just super meaningful. And she was like, oh my God, I love this new product. I didn't know y'all had that. And it was great to, see what their process is and how they do everything. And I love that y'all do that. And I want to throw out a challenge to every other manufacturer. Let's see. I mean, I know you can't do it if you're just white labeling stuff from China, but if you've got a facility where you actually do stuff here, please invite people in. That's how we get the next generation, right?
Absolutely. Spot on. Getting them in, getting their hands wet is paramount. For me, getting excited about the industry was twofold. One, it was having elders in the industry that got me excited, got me thinking about that career path. But most importantly, it was colleagues that got me interested in attending conferences, getting out there, networking, talking to people. So you not only have the opportunity to touch base with people who were doing what you were doing, but you have the opportunity to talk with sales folk, with engineers, with manufacturers, and
marketing professionals.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And that is so key, because it's easy to feel as though you're working in a silo in the industry, and until you get out and see all of the amazing people that are out there who are right in alignment with your own age group and beyond and less, it is so invigorating. So you just got to open the doors, get out there and immerse yourself into it. It is paramount that we encourage the next generation by taking the responsibility to be an ally and get them out there, have those conversations, let them know that they're just looking at the tip of the iceberg, that there is so much more that awaits them.
It's so true. And I'll give you an example. I had nominated and he was selected, a young man, Darren's Tezano. He had been an on-site at Halliburton for Whitlock at the time, and he ended up going perm and worked there forever. Ended up, when they had the big oil and gas layoffs, which we love so much here in Houston, he ended up taking his payout, started his own integration company, and I nominated him, and Craig McCormick blessed it, as Craig does, now Dan does, and he had been in this industry 15, 18 years. It transformed his career. It got him, it just like reignited the spark, because I was like including him, because I kept saying, get on AV Twitter, and he wouldn't listen. He's not a tweeter, right? And so he didn't know, and it opened so many doors, and he's now the director of IT for Centerpoint Energy.
Oh, wow.
I mean, taking his game to the next level, taking Centerpoint's AV game as an end user to the next level of collaboration and efficiency and wow projects and things that are going to mean something, right? And make their company better. So yeah, it can be very transformative, and it's very good. And I will give Dan, Craig, I'll even give you, Tim, Corey Moss, men that I have worked with, right, are known for over a decade, that they always keep their eyes open. Y'all have always done a great job, Tim, of bringing everyone to the table, right, and wanting to include a really robust, diverse group of people from different aspects of our industry, right? It's not just about sales. It's not just about engineering. It takes a village to get a project over the finish line, right? And y'all have just, kudos to y'all. I'll raise my glass, even though it's...
Before we move on from the story, I do have to give credit to Tom LeBlanc, who was the editor.
Tom, did not mean to leave Tom out. Sorry.
Part of my job is making sure, but making sure that he is also recognized, because he was the editor of Commercial Integrator when they did start this 10 years ago.
Yes.
He's now with NSCA. Our next story comes to us from our own AVNation. Like a number of manufacturers, Legrand has let go of a number of employees since Infocom. One of those is David Albright. I will say this multiple times during this story. I am not related to David Albright. We do spell it similarly. We have met. We have discussed our family history. He is not related to me in any way, shape, or form, at least none that we can find. David writes for us about the 5 keys to success for a work-from-home setup. His main points are to focus on video and audio quality, internet bandwidth, workplace comfort, and display size. The bottom line from Albright's piece is a thoughtful home setup is about fostering a comfortable space that ramps up productivity and the way you work. Mr. Andrew Evans, you are the most remote person that we have on this panel. Technically, Mitchell is also remote, but he's behind the scenes. But what are the best practices for work from home or work from anywhere setup?
When I read the article, I really was just kind of identifying and looking at it, saying, wow, that's me on this one. That's me on this one. It was just going through it, right?
Check.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, high quality webcam, got that, because face-to-face interactions do still have to happen. Those nonverbal cues that you are accustomed to in those face-to-face meetings still matter even when you're remote. So making sure that the camera's on, you've got the good lighting. Tim, you've got fantastic lighting there. No highlights, no glare on your glasses.
Okay, hang on. Hang on. If you're not watching the video, I'm in a freaking studio, dude. Actual, honest to God, I've got big fat cans on me. This is not my home.
Key lights and everything.
Absolutely. I got keys. I got pills. I have a 4-point lighting system in here. I'm cheating.
Right? Yeah. But that's what I'm saying, that, but it makes a difference.
It does.
And so, that, a nice monitor, for me, one of the things that didn't make it into the article, but was kind of a game changer for me. I don't know about the rest of you, but when you're in a Teams call, a Zoom call, and you've got to clear your throat and you're searching, where's my window? Where's the mute button? You're trying to get your mouse to it in time. I was failing miserably at that. I got a little USB box, plugs into the computer. You plug it in, you tell it, yep, this button, it's a hard button. I press it, it mutes me. Press it again, unmutes me. Doesn't matter what's going on my screen. So I've got my cough button. It's fantastic.
What is it? I mean, it's not a commercial.
So it's the Elgato Stream Deck.
100%.
And I adopted the Stream Deck probably 5 years pre-pandemic, honestly.
So are
It's
you
great.
telling us that you're omnipotent, Andrew? Is that the
Oh,
takeaway?
hardly. I'm telling you, even a blind squirrel finds a nut occasionally. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, no, the Stream Deck was great. The audio, for sure. The headsets get a little bit tiring after a while, but having that separation in audio between using built-in speakers and mic on a laptop compared to an in-ear and a microphone goes a long way. Yeah.
All right, Willie, same question.
Oh my goodness. Working from home. I take the leisure approach 99% of the time. In other words, no backdrop, no incredible studio behind me. However, it is very important with regards to video quality, bandwidth, and audio, specifically video. I've been on way too many calls where I have lost interest in moving forward in a business venture with a client because their video was so bad. I mean, in all due honesty, may have been a great client, but I thought, this is a working relationship to develop, and this is the best that you can put in front of me. Same with regards to audio. I love crystal clear audio. So 99.9% of the time, you're going to see me with a headset if I'm online. When I do live events and shows, I'm going with the best mic and acoustic processing I can afford. And I walk the room before my audience comes in. So I want to get a sense of how that sound renders in this corner and that area on that portion of the floor. Now, I know that's a step away from that home, work from home studio environment, but there are so many elements that come into play that allow us to be very effective in what we do and what we deliver. And the sad truth is when we go into the office, there are experts, if you will, who've already created that environment for us, right? That have our workstations set up, that have selected microphone, webcams, and all the accoutrements that surround us. When we shift to the work at home environment, we're just kind of left up to our own vices. And many of us just do not function very well. And we think it's okay to be dysfunctional in that professional environment, though we're seated at home. The other thing I want to touch upon that was brought up in the article that I'm glad that David brought up was comfort when it comes to ergonomics. If you're working from home and spending a lot of time online in front of that device, the eyes will definitely fatigue. So give yourself a break, look away if you need to, blink, don't forget to blink, and most importantly, have a comfortable chair. And that doesn't mean that you have to go out and spend a fortune, but it does mean that you shouldn't be hunched over during that whole time, that you shouldn't be struggling to reach your mouse or keyboard, that you shouldn't be shifting in your chair all day long just to try to find that sweet spot. And lastly, your couch should never serve as your field office. It may be called a laptop, but by golly, put it on a desk. If you're Zooming with family, that's fine. If you're touching base with clients, go with that solid fixture, please.
You should not look like Steve from Blue's Clues on a video call. I'm terribly sorry. It should not happen.
You're right. You're right.
I'm going to get hate mail for that. Michelle, you can reach me at mitchell.tulin@avnation.tv. Michelle, what's the best work from home setup?
I think everybody has their own use case, right? I like that Willie has confirmed for the record that we are also susceptible to the good enough. So maybe our clients are rubbing off on us because, but no, definitely good camera. You definitely want. I like a wide screen monitor. Only because I have like monitor envy. When I see somebody has a monitor better than mine, I don't know why. I'm just like drawn, like, ooh, how much does that cost? When's the price going to drop? Does Costco have that? So yeah, having a good monitor. And now what's interesting is, you can have a meeting, without good video, but you cannot have a meeting without audio. That's called surveillance. So you do have to have good audio. I find it interesting. I sold Plantronics wireless headsets for years when I was at Gray Bar back in the dark ages when we did things with, tablets and chisels of stone. But here I am on a Plantronics headset. I'm using a Logitech Brio camera that I won at one of their events last year, and I was so excited. And it was a raffle drawing, and on the terms and conditions, it didn't say you could only enter yourself once. So sadly, I did enter myself twice to improve my odds because I really wanted to win one of the cameras. And then they ended up pulling my name twice. And then everybody went, ooh. And I was like, really, guys? That's how bad I wanted it. It's okay. Y'all throw that second one out. All right. Busted. There didn't say there was a limit to the number of entries. But no, we're right. I would like to know, Willie, I would like to know your shameless plug. So when you do live events, whose microphone are you using and whose processor? You can share.
I won't share the processor, but I will share the microphone.
Okay.
It's a Shure product. It is a Shure product. I love
For
Shure products.
sure.
Always
Hashtag
have.
for sure.
Yep.
Yep. They make good products.
I've used Sennheiser and others, but I've always come back to the Shure product. And it's just that warmth. I'll go back to a statement that Eddie Van Halen shared years ago in Circus Magazine, for those of us old enough to remember that publication. And when he was asked about his sound system at home, he said he liked the brown sound. It's like knocking on a good solid piece of wood. It doesn't sound hollow, it doesn't sound dead nor sharp. It's just this warmth that's there. And I'll add one more thing. Michelle, you touched upon the envy of monitors. You caught me. That just tickled me, because there were times that I walked down the hall past a colleague's office, and you walk by and you glance, and then you back up and you look and you go, wow. So then when they step away to lunch, you write down make and model, and you talk to folks in the budget office, and you go, yeah, my doctor says I need that. Got to get better. Yeah.
So before we wrap this up, since I've asked, and we've made people say their products, you're listening to me through a Shure SM7B. I have used a Shure SM7B for 8 years now. And I that is my preference. That's how I think that my voice sounds better. Just personal preference, right? There are people that swear by Neumanns. If you listen to Stern is a Neumann guy, right? And has been for 25 years, for as long as I know. But Michelle, you mentioned monitor envy. My work from home setup, I have a very large Sony Bravia, 4K no less. Yeah, I'm very happy with that. Last story before we let you guys get out of here, kind of off the cuff or off of our discussion about work from home, is from our friends over at Tech Decisions, how to keep your remote workers secure. The piece warns that the convenience of remote work comes with a quote unquote hefty price tag, that is increased vulnerability to cyber threats. With data breaches on the rise, and according to the article, 47% of remote workers falling victim to phishing attacks, companies are scrambling to fortify their digital defenses. The solution? A combination of secure web gateways, encrypted security keys, and user acknowledgement protocols. This is not just about the tech. The human element remains, quote unquote, the weakest link. As threats
can
evolve,
you repeat that, Tim?
The weakest link. I can't imitate her. As threats evolve, the pressure is on for businesses to up their game in employee training and infrastructure overhauls. Willie, we'll start with you. How do we keep our systems secure, both from a remote standpoint and the folks that are in the office?
Okay, so I'm going to pretend that you're not all aware of the breaking story as of 2 weeks ago in Columbus, Ohio, with a huge data security breach.
Is that the one that released everybody's social security number in the entire United States?
Pretty darn near.
Yeah, okay.
20 years worth of data that was released via the city of Columbus and security breach with an employee clicking on a malicious link. Now, it has not been substantiated that that individual was working from home or working from the office, but it is evident that we really need to be vigilant. We need to be trained. And if we are working from home, we really need better security measures. If it means going in and talking with a cyber expert and hiring that individual to consult with, what do I need at home? How can I best protect myself? Do you offer a training class as far as cyber awareness? How can I keep my business safe as well as my home network safe and my family members safe? You can't protect it all. That, as you said, Tim, humans are the weakest link. I can't do her accent either, um, in the process. But it's a tall order because cyber criminals are getting craftier and craftier and craftier, and they're spoofing some incredibly fine looking emails. Let's just phrase it that
Yeah.
way. And it becomes difficult for some employees to discern, and even end users, entrepreneurs, to discern what's a credible email, what's not a credible email, what's the actual web page for that company versus a spoofed web page for that company. So we just have to really be on guard. I use a secure browser. I have antivirus software that runs and checks everything that comes in. I've had emails that I've been able to preview before opening. And if they even remotely look suspicious, I do not open, I delete. If it is important and it's from a client or someone seeking a business opportunity with me, they will follow up. Because I know if I don't hear back from a client, if I'm doing a cold call, I will follow up.
Michelle, same kind of question here, and I will out myself. Here at AVNation and CTI, we have a cybersecurity system, and it sends out fake emails, phishing emails. And I clicked on one about 1.5 years ago. Now, anybody that knows me knows that I love coffee, and the one they got me on was a free Starbucks gift card. But I still did it, right? Still did it. So I mean, I say that in saying, I am not unaware of the things that are out there. Still got me, right? I was still in that moment in time, in that week, in that instance, I was the weakest link of our organization. So how do we get our folks to understand the seriousness of these threats?
Well, like the song goes, you don't know what you got till it's gone. I'm guilty as charged. At ADI, our IT department, and VSonic, we're very good at torturing us with the phishing emails, because sometimes I like a carrot, but the inevitable stick follows. Um, and I miss my Instagram and my original Twitter handles. I miss Vacation. Those were mine. And ironically, they stole them and then set up multi-factor authentication, which I had never set up. Brr! Because, I just can't bring myself to give myself another step. And I do. I miss it. And, I think we really have to think hard about this, because you have to understand we are dealing with large scale, pervasive, criminal global organizations. Pig butchering is a thing. Google it, folks. They are actually enslaving people to extort money from you, specifically Americans. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. I listen to enough cyber podcast that it's a little depressing, and you have to remain vigilant. Education is key, constantly re-educating, carrots, sticks, whatever, right? And nobody wants to be the weak link, right? That succumbs. And I've done it. And I got so mad when I was at ViewSonic, because I knew better, and I was on the road, and I was in a hurry, and I saw it, and I didn't go dig down, and I clicked the link, and they were like, "Oh, great, you've got to retake that class again on phishing, Michelle." And I'm like, "Grr," but
As Michelle goes, I want to point something out here. Is she was on the road, she was in a hurry, right? I'm not picking on you, Michelle. I like coffee, and I clicked on the stupid thing, right? So yeah, you gotta be you. I know it's email, and it's a 50-year-old technology, and we all know what we all know, right? It's comfortable, right? We're all comfortable with email. We think we know what we're doing, and this, that, and the other. But yeah, you really do have to be very, very careful, and again, vigilant, regardless of where you are. Andrew, I'm going to take a corner here. Not just emails, even though, Michelle and I could probably write a book on it. But beyond that, how do we keep our systems safe, and how do we keep our AV networks safe? Because One of the things that these folks are using as a backdoor in these phishing things is getting on the network itself and getting access to the network itself.
Yeah, so certainly doubling down on the education side of things, making sure that the users of the network are up to speed on the latest attacks, because it is an evolving threat space. But the AV systems side of it, certainly a number of years back, there were some data breach instances involving large retail chains that got associated with mechanical HVAC type contractors, and how some of those became an entry point into a point of sale system.
Yep.
And so as AV professionals, it's really incumbent on us to make sure that we're designing systems, deploying systems. As a manufacturer, we're designing the actual components so that they are secure. We can't really just rely on obfuscation anymore. That the AV system being air gapped is kind of a day of the past, right? It's on the network. The IT departments, the AV departments are integrated. They want to be able to monitor remotely these devices and these systems. So making sure that you've got the right protocols enabled from a security cipher perspective, making sure that you're deploying it to the site conditions. If you're doing military, medical, government type stuff, you've got private information that has to be protected as it's transiting these AV systems, and there's a responsibility there. And so making sure you understand your client's needs when you're picking out those solutions really becomes forefront.
That'll be a good place to stop. Thank you all so much. Michelle Lorette, how do people connect with you, ma'am?
Oh, you can find me on LinkedIn, Michelle Lorette, like Loretta without the "t." And my contact information is on the site. So click contact information. Phone number, email are there.
Mr. Willie, thank you, sir, as always. How do people connect with you?
Franklin DJ Services at gmail.com. And you can also find me on LinkedIn, Willie Franklin.
Mr. Andrew, thank you, sir. How do people connect with you or Extron Electronics?
Extron is extron.com, where you can find all sorts of information. And to get connected with me, just go to LinkedIn, and it's Andrew Evans Extron.
All right, very good. For me, for Tim Albright, don't follow me anywhere because it's not very interesting. But go by the website, AVNation.tv. That's AVNation.tv. Follow this, find this podcast and a host of others. Mitchell has been very busy. We have a new State of Control and a new Ed Tech, so you can check those out. I will be in Denver the 5th through the 7th of September for CEDIA and CI Expo. Lots of good folks will be there hanging out. Amelia Varbo will be there. Are you waving your hand because you're going to be there too, Michelle?
I will be there. I am doing so. I'm doing a session with Lainey Materas, so I can't wait. Yeah.
Chris Netto will be there, Mark Coxon, so all kinds of cool people, and then me, I will be there. So check that out, and you can follow along all of our coverage at the website. So all that and more at avnation.tv. That's avnation.tv. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for watching. That is all the time we have for AV Week.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
Hi, this is Jennifer Goodyear
and Erica Carroll
from the Women in AV podcast, where we are encouraged by the incredible stories of women in AV.
Listen in on fun, empowering conversations as we chat with inspiring women, breaking barriers and creating their own path in the industry.
Check out Women in AV on avnation.tv or wherever you get your podcasts.